Coming up on News 11, a mural in Buffalo is causing issues within copyright law. President Biden signs legislation to officially end the COVID-19 emergency in the U.S. And in entertainment news, we have the latest details on famous couples splitting and others tying the knot. These stories and more, News 11 starts right now.
Welcome to News 11. I'm Julia Skiba.
And I'm Chloe Kowalik.
The State University of New York announced Tuesday that students will no longer be required to receive a COVID-19 vaccine in order to attend any SUNY campus. The end of the vaccine mandate comes immediately after President Biden signed a bill marking the end of the COVID-19 national emergency. According to SUNY, COVID-19 vaccinations will continue to be strongly encouraged for students. Faculty and staff will also be encouraged to stay up to date on vaccinations as well. SUNY Chancellor King spoke on the change in policy, saying, quote, "The safety of SUNY students is our first and foremost priority, and while COVID is no longer an emergency, we will not lose sight of the impact it continues to have on us. Across SUNY, we will continue to monitor cases and make adjustments as needed, but even more importantly, we will look to increase the overall health and wellness support we provide our students," end quote.
There is a higher risk for fires across most of northeastern and western New York. A fire watch for McCain and Potter counties in northern Pennsylvania was issued from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. tonight. With gusty westerly winds, dry soil, and low humidity, there is an increased risk for rapid wildfire growth. Although similar conditions are present in western New York, no weather alerts have been issued at this time. However, the statewide burn ban across western New York is in place until May 14th.
The Starpoint School District has been denied being heard by a federal court. After the Title IX complaint against Starpoint wrestling team members, the students were removed on February 9th. By February 28th, a lawsuit was filed against them, but the school district removed the case from the Niagara County Supreme Court and requested it be heard in front of the U.S. District Court of Western District of New York, a federal court. According to the district, they believed that the Western District Court was an appropriate venue since the lawsuit pertained a federal Title IX matter. U.S. District Court Judge Lawrence Veraldo disagreed with the school. In a 15-page ruling on Monday, Judge Veraldo ruled that the school district did not show that the federal court had jurisdiction over the matter. The district argued that the Title IX regulations explicitly preempt conflicting state laws. After the hearing, it was decided that the case will now move back to the Niagara County Supreme Court, and there has not been a date scheduled yet.
A Buffalo mural is stirring up a copyright lawsuit. The piece is titled "Greetings from Buffalo" and was created by artist Casey Mildbrand. The controversy is currently between Mildbrand and small business owner Mark Moscato, who owns Buffalo Bike Tours. Moscato's tour used a stop at the mural for a Photoshop. Moscato then used those photos on his website. After, Moscato was given an invoice that he had to pay or had to face legal action from Mildbrand. Moscato said the bill was around $5,000. Moscato and his lawyer say they do not plan on paying the bill. Jason Rothschild of Signature Development and the building manager where the mural was painted said the site of the building was offered to Mildbrand at no cost in 2016 to paint the mural. Rothschild said he never thought the mural would become an income source for the artist and that he is disappointed with the ordeal. He added that he was disappointed with the whole ordeal. Rothschild said he is keeping his options open and that painting over it isn't out of the question.
An Allegheny County boy now has a new lease on life after a first-of-its-kind gene therapy treatment was performed at Boston Children's Hospital. 6-year-old Connor Hess became the first person to receive the treatment for his rare diagnosis called adrenoleukodystrophy. Days after Connor's diagnosis, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration approved a gene therapy called Skysona. It was especially positive news for Connor, who unfortunately was not able to find a good bone marrow match for a stem cell transplant. Skysona was provided to Connor through an infusion, which he traveled from Siwan, New York to Boston Children's Hospital to receive. ALD itself is rare and primarily found in boys. It's identified in 1 in every 40,000 United States births, or about 200 newborns per year. Even rarer, it's Connor's version of the condition, which 35 to 40% of babies go on to develop after getting diagnosed with ALD. Connor was discharged from the hospital this past Sunday, but will need to return to Boston every 4 to 6 months.
Prom season is fast approaching, and students throughout the area are looking for the perfect dress to fit the occasion. Prom dresses can range from $100 to hundreds of dollars, and for students who may not be able to afford to buy a prom dress, Colvin Cleaners is giving thousands of gowns away for free. The tradition of helping give away gowns for students in need started years ago when Paul and Cindy Baloney, the owners of Colvin Cleaners, saw a need in the community. This is the 15th year the program returns to give students the chance to pick and choose from thousands of gowns after being on a 3-year pause due to the pandemic. But it's not just dresses to choose from. Once students find the gown of their dreams, there are shoes and jewelry offered by Marlena Gagner, who said the program hits close to home for her. Gagner has created and repurposed jewelry for the event for 13 years and continues to pay it forward. The event will be going on until Thursday, 3 to 6 p.m. However, students who are interested in getting a free gown must sign up before heading down to Shays.
Frontier High School in Hamburg has 2 teams competing in the NASA Hunch competitions that empower students to create projects to be used by astronauts in space. One of the teams, made up by Michaela Cross, 17, Chloe Fisher, 17, and Ava Kozak, 17, are competing in the finals for the biomedical competition. The team made edible packaging to replace the foam used to ship materials into outer space, replacing the waste used. The other team of 4, Lily Bogdan, 16, Danielle Luba, 17, Madison Osborne, 15, and Julia Tufan, 16, worked on making a habitat for insects to be used as food in the space for the culinary competition. They built a habitat that NASA can monitor from the Earth. Both projects took months of planning, and both teams will head to Houston on April 18th.
Have you been missing Pizza Hut recently? Well, there's a new location opening on Delaware Avenue in Tonawanda next to Travers Boulevard. Yesterday was the soft opening for the new location, and today is the official grand opening. According to the store owner, Rohit Patel, they will have about 5 new locations opening up across Western New York within the next few months, including one near the Buffalo Niagara International Airport. By this time next year, they are hoping to have 10 new locations.
Former Buffalo Bills wide receiver Steve Johnson has released another children's book, his second in a year. The book, Freddie J Makes His Play, features former Bills player Fred Jackson. The book tells the story of how Jackson overcame obstacles to become a fan favorite and build his legacy. The book was co-written by Charles Roberts III and illustrated by Zachary McCabe. The book will release on May 21st at an event from 2 to 4 p.m. at Resurgence Brewing Company. Founder of 26 Shirts and co-founder of Bills Mafia, Del Reed, spoke on Johnson returning to Buffalo, saying, quote, "I know I speak for a lot of fans when I say I thoroughly enjoyed seeing Stevie come back to Buffalo to collaborate with Charlie and Zach to create these children's books. I think people will love what's in store for this team's second story," end quote.
New York State Governor Kathy Hochul has announced protections for abortion medication. To do this, the state plans to stockpile a 5-year supply, or 150,000 doses, of the abortion medication misoprostol. Hochul said, quote, "New York will always be a safe harbor for abortion care, and I am taking action to protect abortion access in our state and continue to lead the nation in defending the right to reproductive autonomy," end quote. Hochul also announced that if the abortion pill mifepristone is taken off the market, then the state will commit up to $20 million to providers to support access to other methods of abortion. And when we come back, we'll have your national headlines, including an update on the legislation that officially ended the 3-year-long national emergency. We'll be right back.
When you think of the local lowdown, what do you think of?
Well, when I think of the local lowdown, it's the live music that we have played in the studio.
It's gotta be the laughs we shared. The memorable moments during the whole thing. Oh my God, so fun.
The local lowdown for me is the people behind the scenes, the amazing team that we have making the show. Oh, it's gotta be exploring all sorts of genres and music I've never heard before.
Oh, easy. Going out to shows and talking to artists and getting the latest news on what they have planned for the future.
It's about these artists, man. Giving them a platform to showcase what they've worked so hard on and show their music to the community. It's all about supporting the local scene of music to keep it running for years to come. And of course, the band merch. You can't forget about the merch.
Emergency for COVID-19 is officially over more than 3 years after it was declared by then President Donald Trump. The White House says President Biden signed legislation on Monday that ended the national emergency for COVID-19. The White House has opposed the measure, but did say the president will sign it if passed. The administration has planned to end the national emergency on May 11th, which is also when the public health emergency is set to expire. That still remains in effect for 1 more month. A White House official says the administration has been winding down pandemic-related authorities over the past few months.
Iowa's Attorney General is pausing funding for emergency contraception and, in some cases, abortion for sexual assault victims. Iowa Attorney General Brenna Bird says she is evaluating whether this is an appropriate use of public funds. Until her review is complete, the state will be delaying payment of any pending claims that would assist victims of sexual assault. Iowa has provided emergency contraception, like Plan B, as well as abortions for sexual assault survivors since 1979. Under the program, victims of rape have not been responsible for paying for exams or medications required to the assault. Planned Parenthood is calling the Iowa AG's decision, quote, deplorable and reprehensible, end quote.
Tax season is here. The deadline to file federal income taxes is April 18th this year. In the meantime, the government agency that collects your taxes is looking at a makeover. The International Revenue Service unveiled its plan to revamp the agency just days ago. It wants to spend the $80 billion Congress provided last year to make changes. The proposed plan would hire more than 7,000 new auditors in the next 2 years. The agency wants to step up enforcement to audit more wealthy people and corporations, and the IRS wants to be more customer-friendly. Republicans are opposed to some plans, including stepped-up enforcement of wealthier Americans.
The Environmental Protection Agency is expected to take steps in the coming days to tighten restrictions on emission standards. The proposed rule changes, if implemented, would require 2/3 of all new passenger vehicles sold in the United States to be electric by 2032. The New York Times was the first to report on the agency's proposal. The federal government isn't the only one trying to make changes. California regulators voted last year to ban the sale of new gasoline-powered cars by 2035 and set interim targets to phase the cars out. Other states are also expected to adopt these new rules.
About 9,000 faculty members and staff from New Jersey's Rutgers University started a strike on Monday. The action from 3 unions marks the first strike in the school's 250-year history. Workers are picketing at the university's 3 main campuses. After almost a year of failed contract negotiations, they're demanding higher pay, better job security for adjuncts, guaranteed funding for graduate students, and more. Rutgers president says only a few outstanding issues remain up for negotiation, but the union says those issues are key. The union and school says classes should continue during the strike. Union leaders say patient care and critical research will continue at university health facilities. They say voluntary work and non-critical research will slow or stop. Government Phil Murray is trying to get both sides to negotiate at his office.
Your family's favorite iconic storageware could soon be history. Tupperware is barely staying afloat. The company says it is looking for financing because it doesn't have enough cash to fund its operations. Tupperware is also exploring potential layoffs and reviewing its estate portfolio. Stocks plunged 40% in pre-market trading Monday. The New York Stock Exchange also warned Tupperware could be delisted for not filing a required annual report. The 77-year-old business has struggled to stay relevant and attract younger customers. Now, when we come back, Ethan Smith joins us for our update, and a surprise returning guest gives us our first look at the weather. We'll be right back.
To Sofia and Gabriel, mis flores, my little flowers. Even though these old knees can't follow on your adventure to the forest today, these flowers represent my love, so you can take me with you wherever you go, near or far. These stitches and threads join us together. Me, your mother, and both of you. And wherever you see a flower, a bird, a beautiful tree, know that my love is with you as you bring our colorful stories to the world.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly.
Lights out. Good night.
And put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
We're now joined by Ethan Smith. What's new this week in sports, Ethan?
I'm glad you asked. The Fredonia State baseball team exploded for a season high in runs with a 20-7 victory at Thiel College on Tuesday. They had 12 hits in the 7-inning contest and used 3 Tomcat errors, 9 walks, and 4 hit batters to aid in their scoring barrage. Garrett Stuckey led the team with 3 hits and 4 RBIs. Alex Gannon and Nicholas Barbario each drove in 3 runs, while Brady Ventura and Tucker Schwab had 2 hits apiece. The Devils now sit at 5-17 on the season and play again at home on Friday and Saturday against Brockport. In Buffalo sports, the Sabres' playoff drought now extends to its 12th season, as last night they lost to the New Jersey Devils 6-2. The game was close until the third period, when New Jersey added some extra goals on an empty net. Scoring for the Sabres were Jeff Skinner and Matthias Samuelsson. Casey Middlestat and Alex Tuck continued their recent point streaks by getting assists in the game as well. Sabres fans now can look forward to the NHL Draft Lottery, which takes place on May 8th. And lastly, in national news, the Masters took place over the course of last weekend, and between the controversial LIV golfers and multiple delays, there was much to talk about. Current #1 golfer in the world, Jon Rahm, took home his first ever green jacket as he was consistently at the top of the leaderboard all weekend, finishing with a score of 12 under par. Brooks Koepka and Phil Mickelson tied for second place, while Russell Henley and Patrick Reed tied for fourth.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you so much. The golf was interesting this week, you
Yeah,
know,
it sounds
with
interesting.
the weather going on, you know, I had the delay on Saturday, trees are falling over, luckily no one was hurt.
Right. At least, you know, I think I heard that it's going to get a little bit nicer. Let's find out for sure, because now joining us back on News 11, after about a year of hiatus, is a familiar face for anyone who watched any of the WNYF shows last year. Sydney joins us as a surprise guest to give us a weather update.
I'm happy to be back, but truthfully, it would be hard for me to say no after Topher practically begged me to make a cameo. But it also seems like I'm good luck when it comes to doing the weather, because we're in full spring weather now. Starting for tonight, temperatures are going to be sitting at a comfortable 62 degrees. We'll also have clear skies all night long, which means it could feel a little cooler after the sun goes down. It might feel a tiny bit cooler outside with the winds too, as they sit around 18 miles per hour right now. Jumping into tomorrow, you can, for the most part, just copy today's weather and replay it for Thursday, because that's exactly what we should see. It actually might feel warmer than today because the winds are supposed to die down. Temperature is the exact same as today with 62 degrees, and we'll see clear skies all day long. We should see another great weekend coming up too, but I'll get to that later in the show. Back to you guys.
And when we come back, we'll have your international headlines. We'll be right back.
This one's for the real ballers and shot callers, the Sisterhood of Women in Tech. They're discovering cures, building apps, and programming the blockchain. They're CEOs, worldwide hustlers who can make it rain. They're tearing down the old boys club and seeing big gains. Because when women in tech come together, you know they make that change.
Every day,
millions of people are connecting.
And even though we're overcoming obstacles, watching each other's backs,
and banding together,
we should still make an effort.
we should still make an effort
to get to know each other.
on a deeper level. Father,
Cosplayer,
mentor.
actor.
It's time we take a step forward
It's time we take a step forward. Come together.
and discover
How accepting our differences
can make us stronger.
How prepared is your family if a hurricane shows up at your doorstep, or a flood, or a blizzard? You can't just turn away a natural disaster. That's why it's important to go to ready.gov/plan now. It has the tools and tips you need to make an emergency plan with your family. So if disaster comes knocking, let's go. You'll be ready to help keep your family safe.
It's just a pizza.
Yes. Make a plan today.
Dalai Lama is apologizing after a video that shows him kissing a boy sparked outrage on social media. It happened in February at an event in India. Video shows the spiritual leader kissing a boy on the lips and then sticking out his tongue and asking the child to, quote, suck my tongue. The identity of the boy is not known. In a statement, Dalai Lama's office says, quote, His Holiness often teases people he meets in an innocent and playful way. The statement adds that the 87-year-old spiritual leader regrets the incident.
Chinese warplanes are circulating Taiwan as China launches the first of 3 days of military drills around its island neighbor. The dramatic display of force comes day after Taiwan's president met House Speaker Kevin McCarthy in California despite repeated threats from Beijing. China's calling the drills, quote, united sharp sword. It says they are meant to be, quote, a serious warning against the Taiwan separatist forces who it claims are colluding with external forces, end quote. Shortly after the announcement, Taiwan said it detected 42 Chinese warplanes over the Taiwan Strait, which separates the island from China's mainland. While Taiwan considers itself a self-governing democracy, China claims the island as its own. It has not ruled out using military force to occupy Taiwan. In a statement responding to the drills, Taiwan vowed to defend its national security while adding that it does not want to escalate conflict.
Decades of conservation efforts have paid off for India's tiger population. According to the latest census, more than 3,000 tigers roamed the Indian wild last year. That's more than double the population in 2006 when it reached record lows. Part of the reversal was the development of 53 reserves. Tiger numbers started declining in the 1940s from agricultural expansion, deforestation, and fragmented habitats. Poaching also played a factor. India officially banned tiger hunting in 1972, but it is still a major threat.
After a short break, we'll be back
With your trending stories and one last look at the weekend weather. We'll be right back.
Most of my family, they never graduated high school or even let alone go to college, so I'm trying to break that barrier. Every day after work, went straight to school, studied hard, and it paid off. I could not have done it alone. I see the future is really bright for me. The high school diploma is just added to the confidence, and now I feel unstoppable.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Superstar Taylor Swift and her longtime boyfriend actor Joe Alwyn are calling it quits. A source close to Taylor confirmed the news to CNN, saying, quote, Taylor and Joe broke up after a few weeks ago. They simply grew apart and plan to remain friends, end quote. The breakup was first reported by ET News this past weekend. Swift and Alwyn were first linked romantically in 2016. Swift says during their relationship, they've had to dodge strange rumors and tabloid stories. Alwyn has appeared as a guest on several of Swift's tracks, including playing piano on the Grammy-winning award album Folklore.
Could actress Millie Bobby Brown be engaged? Her fans certainly think so. The 19-year-old Stranger Things star posted a photo on social media embracing her partner, Jake Bon Jovi, with a rather large ring on her engagement finger. Brown captured the image, "I've loved you 3 summers now, honey, I want 'em all," around the same time. Bon Jovi also shared an image on his social accounts where the couple is looking out to sea, captioned, "Forever." 20-year-old Bon Jovi is the son of rocker John Bon Jovi. No comment yet from Brown's team on a possible engagement.
Lucasfilm President Kathleen Kennedy has made every Star Wars fan's wish come true. 3 new movies are in the works. Kennedy made the announcement at Star Wars Celebration, which is taking place in London. The films will be directed by James Mangold, Dave Filoni, and Charmin Obaid-Chinoy. And that's not all. She also announced that Daisy Ridley was returning to the franchise. The films will be taking place in different times. One will be set in the deep past, one is set to take place in 15 years after the events of the 2019 film Rise of Skywalker, and the last will be set in the present and close out the Disney Plus series. No release date was given for any of the films. All right, what are your thoughts? Do you think they're actually engaged, Millie Bobby Brown and John Bon Jovi's son? Like, what?
I don't know. I didn't. Did you see any of the social media posts?
No, I haven't. I don't follow
either.
either of them, so I never saw anything.
I didn't see anything either, but I heard from, like, my sister texted me one day, and she was like, I think Millie Bobby Brown is engaged, and so I don't know.
That's
I'll
crazy.
have to look on the
That's
social
crazy.
media and see what happens, because she's like my age.
I know,
too, which
yeah.
I think is kind of
weird.
I don't know.
Anyways,
We'll see.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm pretty curious about what this weekend's going to look like. So
Yeah.
let's toss it over to Sydney with our weekend forecast.
Well, jumping right into the weekend forecast, we're going to be seeing both ends of spring this weekend, with the nicer half being on Friday and Saturday. Friday, we're going to be seeing mainly sunny skies with a possible couple clouds rolling through, but still blue skies all day. Temperatures are going to stay consistent with earlier in the week, right around the mid-60s. The wind picks up a little bit, so it may feel a little bit cooler than the temperature suggests. Saturday, we see a few more clouds in the sky, which is a slight preview to Sunday, but still a perfectly fine day to get outside and enjoy the warmth. It will actually feel warmer than Friday, especially when the sun is out, because winds should die down during the midday and afternoon. And lastly, Sunday is realistically a hit or miss day for weather, as we have a good chance to see a scattered shower randomly throughout the day. The one upside is that Sunday will be the warmest day we'll see all weekend, with a chance of hitting 70 degrees. The precipitation chance is right on 50%, so there's no guarantee of it being a washout, though. Back to the desk.
Thank you. I am very excited to hear about that weekend
Me too.
weather.
I know.
That was really nice. How are you feeling about the warm weather?
I'm so excited. I'm so glad that we can walk outside and not freeze for once.
I know.
here
Mine
in
is the
Fredonia.
wind. We were talking about
It is
the
very
wind
windy. It is very windy.
for a little bit, and like I was there was one time I was walking to class and there was no wind, and it was like summer. It was so nice.
Yeah.
But then we can't escape.
It's just so
we
intense.
Can't escape the wind, but that's okay. Do you have any plans this weekend? Doing anything outside?
I think that my boyfriend and I might go to Erie, and I think we're gonna go to a vegan bakery and get some vegan donuts.
Oh my gosh.
So maybe we can eat them outside. 'cause
Yeah.
it's gonna be nice out.
Seriously,
so.
there's like Presque Isle Beach. I think that's how
Yeah,
you say
I've been
it,
there.
along-
It's very nice.
And honestly,
Yeah.
this weekend, because it'll be warm, that'll be the thing to do.
Yeah.
I think I'm definitely gonna try and spend some time outside. Maybe we'll go to the beach here because
Yeah.
I have to enjoy the weather.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't like it. I mean, I love when it's warm, but then when I have work to do, I feel guilty for being inside because I'm doing my work and then I'm seeing all the nice weather. I feel like
for
I
sure.
do my best work in the winter. But anyway, that does it for this week's News 11 update. Thank you to our entire behind-the-scenes crew.
And of course, thank you to everyone watching at home. We'll be back next week. Have a great night.